Now, one of the reasons I introduce schools in the context of the question of what is the best deck is because form follows function, and you'll find yourself working with a deck that actually works with your style more than you'll find a deck and then adjust to the style. It can be that other way, but I usually find the flip. So this is Integrationist decks. I'm really seeing that the Rumi Tarot is much more integrationist than I originally suspected. Now, the Integrationist deck has sort of a wonderful thought behind it, or the school, I should say, and that is, well, you know, the systems-based school is really cool. I mean, everything sort of springs from that. And the historical school has things to commend itself, and we really like the traditional of the Rider-Waite because it's so well known. So how about we, like, kind of bring a lot of those things together and sort of see what happens? And, you know, these are people that have kind of made up things that have worked for them. For example, if you read Johanna Gargiulo-Sherman's book on the Sacred Rose Tarot, you find it's a pretty thoughtful kind of person, this woman, and that it's really, she has quite a bit of theory that went behind the drawing of the artwork of her cards, and that she really has changed things quite a bit. For example, when you move beyond the tens, usually the page is given the number 11 unofficially, the Knight 12, the Queen 13, and the King 14. For her, it's King, Queen, Knight, Page. So the King is 11, Queen 12, Knight 13, Page 14. And also, pages and knights are not people for her. And so these are quite some different things. She also takes astrological associations very seriously, but then changes them and puts them all on their head. So her book, the Guide to the Sacred Rose Tarot, is very important if you're going to use the Sacred Rose Tarot deck. You know, there's even the fact that none of the characters, or very few of them, actually only like 2 cards, do they actually have irises. The reason that they don't have those in their eyes is they're masks that you put on. And so, let me see, for example, here. You know, with the card of victory here, you may not be able to see very carefully, but he doesn't have any eyes. And so the idea is, I put him on. What's it like to be victorious, to stand there amongst all the garlands, and to bask in the glory, but have a hurting paw that I'm hiding while supporting out my strength, you know, gaining strength from this wand. And so there's a lot of symbolism and aspects. You do become a little more dependent upon the help book, and so that is a necessary purchase. For example, there's an All Hallows Eve or a Halloween deck, and you follow the black cat throughout the deck, and the symbols are like pumpkins, ghosts, bats, and something else. And the point is that, and that's fine, by the way. I know someone who really enjoys that deck. But you do need to watch those things much more carefully. Again, here, the idea of meditation and spirituality much more central. You know, some of the traditional questions of like, when am I going to find a boyfriend, you know, aren't really answered so much by this deck. It'll say, well, when are you going to love yourself? You know, those sorts of things. Here is one where they tried to integrate the Tarot de Marseille, the Thoth, and the Rider-Waite-Smith, and this is the Lo Scrivo Tarot. It's the flagship deck, and it has that sort of card backing, and it came with a special little baggie that's quite beautiful. The beetle deck is what I unofficially call it. But here they made better sense of those imagery. They brought them all together, but also look, hey, you want to identify with protagonists of the cards? No problem. There you are. 5 of Swords, defeat. See? There you are. They're all looking away from you. You've been defeated. And there is, so if you want to identify it, we're going to clear up that artwork for you and help you identify appropriately with what's going on. Yes, you tried to defend tarot to your professor at college, and look, you got smoked. And how do you feel about that now? You know, so these are aspects about the cards. The Integrationist school is very wonderful. Again, it does have the strengths of getting away from a single approach. It lets you bring a lot of things in. Johanna Gargiulo-Sherman does show that she has quite a bit of knowledge of Kabbalah, that she's read Crowley quite well as Waite and some other authors. She's incorporated psychology, mainly Jungian, as well as pagan, Wiccan, and also Christian spiritualities and saints and important characters like that. So it gives quite a full orb deal. Nigel Jackson gets into some of the Sufi mysticism. You can bark up that tree. The mystical poetry of Rumi is, I usually like to read one right before church service starts. It's really a great way to set the mind. His love of God is just unfathomable. And so bringing those aspects in are quite helpful. Also, I like that they cleared up some of the imagery here and bringing together some of those three great traditions, which really are the major ones, the TDM, the Thoth, and the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Tarot de Marseille. And so Integrationist decks have much to commend them. The problem is the amount of support for understanding and growing them is going to put a lot more onus on you. You're also going to need to understand some of those other schools backwards and forwards to work with these decks real well. However, that's not entirely the case. I did retreat to Sacred Rose Tarot from Thoth because Thoth is highly intimidating. Getting up and running in Thoth takes quite a bit of energy. However, it was a good preparation. It did give me a bit of a respite, and I still enjoy it so much that I have quite a bit of those and hope to finally work it back into some of my main reading decks for when I work with querents. So at any rate, the Integrationist has much to commend with, but again, it's not an easy way out, but it does let you grab some of the wonderful aspects of all the other schools.